Hello everyone, this is my Palmer's Pursuit Shop pump pistol from the early 1990s. I got this from Mike, who played in 1990, 1991. He was a lieutenant stationed at an Air Force base in Sacramento, California. He was also a member of the Dogs of War. Team captain was Rick Wilcox. Part of that team was Palmer's Pursuit Shop, run by Glenn Palmer. I got these patches from Mike, along with this gun, amongst other things like accessories. Back in the day, people played in the woods, and things were run in CO2 bottles or cartridges. And when Mike moved out from California to Virginia, this marker was in his basement for decades until he was able to sell it to me in this condition, and this is what I call a survivor, as I received it as is, untouched, since he played. We're going to be talking about this marker and what it's all about. At first glance, this looks like your typical Sheridan type marker, like your PGP, PMI 1, but in all actuality it's a Palmer's Pursuit Shop Paladin. This left feed, the barrel, is bored at 687, unlike your typical 691 back in the day. This is where your IVG, bolt, sight rail, where you're able to mount a red dot sight or a scope if you wanted to. This is the auto trigger, where you can depress on the trigger and rapid fire shots. Great upgrade for pump markers even now. This is your wedge stock, not to confuse by a T-stock. The most unique feature about this Paladin is this drop-in changer. Glenn Palmer calls it Quickie on Side in his catalog. And to accompany it is this famous Quicksilver mechanism. I'm going to demonstrate why this whole mechanism is the best thing to have, unlike your typical Sheridan PGP PMI, where it takes so long to change one of these CO2 cartridges at the field during play. So what you have to do is turn this, drop in the CO2 cartridges, turn again, secure it. When the CO2 is secured, it's able to be pierced inside, which is called the insta-pierce. It will distribute CO2 into the gun, and you can fire until the CO2 is depleted. And when it does, you reverse the steps and you're able to drop in your hand. And then you take another new CO2 cartridges, repeat the process. Play some more, turn, release, drop, and then quickly change your CO2 cartridge. One of the optional features of this Paladin is to take advantage of the bottle holder and not use an actual CO2 cartridge. Instead, use a dummy cartridge. Have that installed, secured. Get your constant air bottle, whether it's CO2 or compressed air. I use compressed air, especially nowadays. Take an on and off ASA, have it installed, and then connect it, and now you're able to have all the air you want to keep shooting. Another thing I want to mention is once I flip this on the other side, is this notch here. This is what they call the quick strip system. It's basically for you to easily strip out the bolt, change out the O-rings, or clean the bolt. It's an archaic way of doing it, but it's way better than taking off the grip frame and everything else just to access the bolt. This hole here is to vent gas when you fire the marker. It's to prevent blowback. If I haven't mentioned it earlier yet, I have got this paintball marker fully functional, and this sticker here wasn't here to begin with, and I have it printed and installed just to signify that this came from Palmer's Pursuit Shop. I've talked about the components and features of this pump pistol. Question is it really a Paladin or is it a houndstooth? I have here catalogs of Palmer's Pursuit Shop from the 1990s and the early 2000s. Flipping over the first page, no mention here of the Paladin. Instead, it's the houndstooth. It has the Quicksilver, the 12-gram changer, quick strip system, auto trigger, everything else that I mentioned before. On this later catalog, the Paladin is here. It has the Quicksilver 12-gram changer. The houndstooth instead has the rear or vertical ASA. What I really think happened here is that the early 1990s, the Paladin hasn't been named yet, and later on, in order for them to differentiate between the two pump markers, one that has the ASA and the other that has the Quicksilver, one has to be named houndstooth and the other Paladin. And what I think I have is just an early version of the Paladin. If you think one is named than the other, or if this is one or the other, you can debate it or leave a comment. Thanks for watching.